You are listening to the Sovereign and Soul podcast. I'm your host, Maykel Reese. I have been a soul and sovereignty coach for over 6 years, and we are bringing it to the airwaves because it's so necessary to talk about this work, to talk about how if you know the truth about you, that empowers you. And that's what I do. That's what I do as a guide and as a coach. I teach you about you. You will learn what you need. You will learn how to heal yourself. I will remove those blocks with you for you to find your most fulfilled life. Let's dive in. It's Tuesday, my people. That means it's time to tune in. Wherever you are, just take a moment. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road, but you can still ground. You can still become present. It's fantastic. Wherever you are, take a moment to settle in. If it feels right to you, close your eyes and gently guide your attention to the palms of your hands. And see if you can become aware of sensation here. If it feels right to you, rub them together, creating a little friction, a little energy. And then keeping your hands in prayer, you can press your thumbs into your sternum, into your heart space, and offer yourself that energy. And then gently guide your attention to your lungs. Notice how they fill and deflate. Become aware of your own natural breath pattern. There is no need to alter or change it. And then see if you can become aware of the emotions that you are experiencing in this moment. Name them. You can write them down. You can think them. You can say them out loud. There's no need to alter or change your emotions. We're just noticing. And then we're naming. And then see if you can find where you are experiencing these emotions in your body. If it feels right to you, offer some gentle touch here. And become aware of where your energy is. All the parts of you that are still in the past, the parts of you that are in the future, the pieces that you have given to other people, call them home. Call them home to your body in the present moment. If you close your eyes, you can blink some light back into your eyes. And remember that this practice is always available to you in every moment of every day. It can be as simple as just turning your attention to your breath. You can deep breathe if you want for bonus points, but just come home to the present moment whenever you can. Well, it is May, and so we are just making our way through the laws of personal sovereignty. And we are on the next two. Do not force anything, and trust that solutions will emerge. Why would we force anything? to get our way. We want to control the outcome of things. We want to control the experience so we feel safe, so we know what's coming, so that we are not blindsided, so that we are not scared, and so that we can be ultimately safe in every moment of every day. Force does not work. Force is control. Force is harm. So when you force something, you are narrowing the outcome to this one finite thing that you think you want. Because you're looking around at everybody else and you're like, oh, I want this thing. Just the one thing. I want it this way. And what you're saying is, I want to fit in. I want to belong. I don't want to call any attention to myself. I don't want to be responsible. That's a big one. Because look, we actually perceive people who force things as responsible people. Nothing goes wrong in their lives because they're adhering to these very strict standards. And so we're like, but wait a minute. Doesn't that work? Well, it does in the short term. And so force, harm, right? We now know that hitting children actually works in the short term. They will not do that thing again. And it makes for terrible adults in pain. And so we take the time, right? We take the time to not force. We take the time to manage our own anger so that we don't hit our children and they actually learn to choose to do things for themselves. It's a lot harder, right? Conscious parenting is harder. But look, and this honestly isn't a judgment on the parents of past. They were only working with what they knew. We can always do better. It's about taking that information, right, that we talked about in the previous episode, and allowing it to become embodied. Forcing something is the opposite of faith. And for the most part, this country is a very faith-based country. And we're faith-based people. Okay? Just, take note of all the major religions around the world. This is what is your faith? Okay? Now, faith is a word that I would recommend that you redefine for yourself. To not force something means that you have the trust and the patience to allow for more. So what you're saying is, I actually don't know everything, so I'm going to work within the things that I can control, and then I'm going to surrender. Let go and let God. Jesus, take the wheel. Yes? So when we choose to stop forcing things and we say, what do I desire? Here is yet another word that we get to redefine. Desire has been roped in with sexuality and in a negative way for the most part. It's like, ooh, desires are something that are taboo, and we need to be practical, and we need to be, sensible and righteous and fill in the blank. When really, our desire is one of the most important parts of our compass. What lights you up? And so desire is this it's more than just want. It is what is this thing? My soul is now alerted because the desire is so strong. This is fantastic news. You want to follow those things. And so that's how we're okay, this thing sparked my joy. It sparked my desire. It sparked my curiosity. I'm lit up, energized. So I want this thing. Great. This is when you go, what's within my control that I need to do? What are the actions I need to take? And also, can I even receive this thing that I want? So that's the inner work part of it. And then you just start to move within your control every day. Well, this is the thing that I'm hoping for. This is the desire that I have. but you work within your control and then you surrender the rest. And it's like, I want all of that and more. Because our minds are actually kind of limited. Okay. We're like, oh, we just want this like one little thing. Oh my goodness. Open up the vastness of possibility. Okay. This is the magic that everyone's talking about. When we are talking about magic and miracles, this is it. Well, actually, I just kind of followed my heart, and then all of a sudden my life opened up into this incredible thing. Oh, felt like a miracle, felt like magic. We put a full stop to magic when we force. So if you imagine it as, it's like you're looking out into the vastness of the universe, and this is the possibility. Like, it's so big that your brain can barely take it in, right? Like, it's trying to make sense of how big the universe is, but it kind of can't. And so it kind of constrains it to like whatever we can understand. Now, when you force, you are like focusing on one star. So all the lights go out and you're focusing on this very narrow, very minuscule possibility of happening, meaning the odds are very slim. Okay. Why would you collapse your possibility? Doesn't make sense. And so you're like, I can only have this one thing, and this is the way it's going to go, and I'm going to force it here. And I'm now going to get rid of all other avenues because I know better. Do you? And so maybe you do. Maybe you do know better what keeps you safe, but does that just mean that you aren't having any experiences? Does that mean that you are scared? Does that mean that you are filled with shame? Does that mean that you are hiding big pieces of yourself? All excellent questions to ask. So instead of having literal endless possibility, you decide to narrow it. And you're causing yourself suffering. Because if you can't have this one thing that's one way, you set yourself up to feel a lot of disappointment, pain, and bitterness, actually. Now, the biggest thing that this sets up is resentment. And resentment is the killer of all good things. Resentment is decay. Resentment is a cancer. And it will eat away at everything you love in your life. It will break connection with yourself and with others. Do not force anything. Allow it. What does it mean to allow something? What does that look like in your day-to-day life? It looks like going, I would like to have an incredible, deep relationship with a partner. And so you start dating. And you're like, oh, this ain't it. You want this incredible relationship. You want your person. You want to experience deep love, connection, all those things. So you start dating and it is hilarious. But then it's like, wait a minute, why isn't this working out? Even when somebody looks great on paper, you're like, but we aren't connecting, and it fizzles. Or you're like, what happened? Or it can be like 3 months went by and everything was awesome. And then all of a sudden, gone. If you're trying to force this, what it looks like is this person is my only opportunity. I will never have an opportunity. I'm going to make this work. And that's going to do one of two things. It's going to make that other person run for the hills, or you will both be in a relationship that you didn't consciously choose and resentment is born. Good times. And then you will wonder what happened. And so, look, this is just a learning process. We all do this to some degree. And so what does allowing look like? Okay. I want this relationship more than I want anything. I want to experience this, right? And that the whole point, I really do believe this, that of being human is to love and be loved. We want this. It's okay. So to allow it, well, I would like this. And as you start dating, you don't like date each person as like, this is my next person. It's you, it's you, it's you. See how you're narrowing and forcing. It's, can I allow this first date to be a first date? That's it. Do I want to spend time with this person? And then when it's over, it's like, would I like to spend time with them again? Not, am I going to marry this person? Be with this person forever? Is this person going to solve all my problems? Allowing is just trusting that every single person comes into your life to reflect back to you something that you need. And so then you're allowing, okay, that was interesting. And then you decide, do I want to spend more time with them? Do I not? If yes, great, keep doing it. If not, cool, call it. But then it's, as you get further down and you get past that first, second, 10th date, and you're kind of in this, committed relationship, exclusive, I think would be what it's called. And that's when you go, okay, how do I allow this? And when things start to get rough, and they always will, because relationships and love brings up everything unlike itself to be healed. Are you capable of receiving that love? Do you understand that you deserve it? Do you understand how to put up boundaries? You're going to learn it real fast. If you force it and you're like, no, this relationship has to be this one way and it's got to be look like this, feel like this, right? That's forcing. To allow is, oh, this actually isn't working. And it's reflecting back to me the things that I'm not either ready to receive or the things that are not for me. And so to not force means that we make a deal that we will also experience pain and that we will grieve. To me, it's a good deal. Because to ride off into the sunset, okay, so relationships, it doesn't matter what it is. We've put that promised land, that arrival, that eternal glory, okay? We think that that's it, when really everything is just the starting line. And that everything requires your attention. And where your attention goes, energy flows. This is about consistency. This is about allowing, flow, trust, all of the things. And so in relationship, it looks like every day, am I doing everything within my control to bring about this desire that I have? And then am I releasing it, surrendering it to allow for the more? And can I trust myself to love myself enough to, have I made myself my primary relationship so that when this fails, I don't even like to use the word failure. It just ends because it needs to. I know how to hold myself. Because I don't force. I work with what is. And then I trust. So you can apply this to anything, right? It's way simpler than we make it. Human beings, we love to make things very difficult. We are the drama, okay? We're like, but why? Because it didn't work. But why didn't it work? Well, the only thing that you really need to understand in that why is, why did I behave the way I did? And did it get me the outcome that I wanted? If no, it's time to go in and do some inventory in here. Do some healing, reduce some noise. Not forcing things is also about receiving. Flow is about being able to have the symbiotic relationship where things, are you ready? Ebb and flow. Okay? If you can't receive love, you will subconsciously shut that shit down. And you'll be like, it was them. Nope, you're the drama. If someone is treating you in a way that is not okay with you and you let it, you're the drama. It's always been you. Don't force. Now, I love this about martial arts, okay? And for my dudes that are listening, y'all love the martial arts, okay? And frankly, I think women should get into it, but that's for another topic. There is nothing about martial arts that suggests that you force stuff. I'm sure that all the dudes listening to it are like, stuff? Okay. You don't force. Okay? You are working with what is. And it is the mastery of the body and self. Okay? Forcing and fighting will get you nowhere real fast. And people are like, well, what about all the dicks that have tons of money and, amazing relationships? Watch any movie, read any book. Those people are actually sad, just like you. You know what I mean? Like, we are all having this human experience. There's no one that's immune to it. There's just the acceptance of it. And so how do I know the experience that I'm supposed to be having is the one I'm supposed to be having? Because it's happening. And so we work with what is, and we don't force it away, and we don't resist. Whatever we resist persists. So do not force anything. We allow. We take action from our own sense of integrity. We take action from an aligned place within us. And we only take action with things we can actually control. Very little. And then we allow. Have I said it enough? Yeah? Okay, cool. The second part to this is trust that solutions will emerge. This one's rough. Admittedly, this one is just barely starting to, how do I want to put this? I'm practicing it enough that I'm like, okay, I see how this works. Because let's be real. There are some big realities in life that we don't want to run from. Okay. We want to be like, okay, here's my reality. This is what's happening. This is what is. And how do you trust that a solution will emerge? Well, it's kind of the same thing. So I'm going to repeat it. Okay. Have you done everything you can that's within your control? If yes, this is when you begin to trust. Let's bring back faith, shall we? Let's bring her right on back in. Sorry, I shouldn't gender it. Faith is just this wonderful concept that is available to all of us. Okay. Trusting. Now, let's go through the levels of this really quick. There is waiting, toe tapping, okay, otherwise known as impatience. But waiting's like one above impatience, where you're like, we'll see. And you're very skeptical, okay? And people get annoyed with waiting. Like, they don't want to wait, right? Think about like when you order some food and they're like a little bit late with it and you're like, the hell? Very hungry. Okay? So there's waiting. But then there is patience. Okay? And patience also has a time limit, right? So patience needs a companion, and it's trust. When you marry trust and patience, this is when faith can take over. Because you are saying, I trust in divine timing, in the timing that's for me, however you want to phrase this. But that we perceive time as an enemy to us. Why isn't it happening now? And what we're really saying is, if it's not happening now, then I don't deserve it. Therefore, I'm a bad person. And then we spiral. Instead of, I just barely learned that I could ask for this. And good things take time, right? Not everything is instant. But also, the more that you play with this concept, it can come through a lot faster. The reason that flow doesn't come to you is because you've put up all these blocks. You're like, well, that's not possible. That can't happen. I have to earn my worth. I have to earn all these things. Fill in any blank that you have. So then you're just blocking it at every turn. So it's like, I'm trying to get to you, but I have to work around this maze that you've set up for me to get to you. And then we're like, why isn't it here? So again, anything that you are just learning is only in your mind. It is only information. The emotional work comes in to reduce the noise in the body, for it to be embodied, and then you will start to see miracles happen all the damn time. And people are like, well, yes, but I have very strict parameters about what miracles are. Okay. It means that I never have to worry, and that I never have to work, and that I never, you see, and that no one I love will ever disappear or die. Okay. That's not, that is not a miracle. I just like to add every now and again that like the spoiler alert is that none of us are making it out of here alive. Okay. So let's just remember that real fast. So having faith that solutions will emerge when you have done your part. This is the co-creation of your experience. You're like, hey, I want this thing, and I'm going to do everything within my control because I understand what that is. And then I'm just going to trust you, and I'm going to allow it to come to me. And I'm not going to be tapping my toe and be like, where is it? I'm flowing now. Can I have it? Money, please. This is where the concept of like, when you really realize that what you have right now is enough, then it can come to you, which is annoying. I know. Okay. I'm also a human. So I'm like, can I just have it though? And then I'll do my inner work so I can be comfortable. Comfort is your enemy. Everyone here, every single human is entitled to psychological, spiritual, emotional safety. No one is entitled to comfort. There's a big difference. So what blocks do you have put up that are keeping your blessings, your miracles, your desires, what you want to get to you? Some of those blocks are, well, it can only come in this package. That's narrowing the possibilities. So trusting, having faith that solutions will emerge, that miracles will come to you, okay? That you will be able to live this fulfilled life because you get to fulfill your desires. It looks like releasing it. I would like this, and I would like all of this and more with no harm to anyone. And in the timing that's right. And then you go about your day. And not like, oh, everything would be so much better if my thing were just here. It's like, it's coming. And so this trusting that solutions will emerge, having faith that solutions will emerge, obviously you can use it in a lot of different ways. When you find yourself in a jam, let's say you got to find somewhere to move and you got to find somewhere to move fast. You can use your energy to completely deplete yourself. And you're like, I have to find it. It has to be here. It has to be in this way. There's only one way to do it. I can't ask for help. I have to pull myself up by my bootstraps. You'll probably find a place, but like you might not like it and it will wear you out. Instead of, okay, here are the places that I need to, here's the parameters that I need. I need it to be in this general area. I need, whatever it is, bedrooms, you get it, near these schools. And then you say, what's within my control? Now, there's a fine line here of like forcing and control. Meaning forcing and then things that are actually within your control. But if you create what you need and you write it down, and then you go become intensely present, you take a moment to be able to hear yourself, to hear the guidance that's going to come through for you. Okay. Sometimes that looks like, well, you should go to, the bookstore, and you're like, what? I haven't been to the bookstore in 20 years. Yeah. So maybe that's just like this inspiration to go. And maybe you start talking to someone who has a place to live. We hear about those stories all the time. Okay. It doesn't have to look exactly like that, but when you can release that frenetic energy around forcing the outcome, all of a sudden possibility is there, because you're like, okay, I know I need this. I have done what's within my control. So then I can allow and let it come to me and move in aligned timing and move in the present moment. And that you aren't co-creating from the past. Well, I couldn't find it this one time. I'm going to be homeless. I don't have solutions, and then, a lot of people will be like, when I was growing up, I had all these concerns about, stability with my home. And it's like, don't bring that in now. Don't create from the past. If it happened to you, okay, acknowledge it and then deal with the emotion around it, not that that's going to be the outcome again. Co-create from present time only. That's what this is saying. To not force and to trust that solutions will emerge means to co-create with your energy from this present moment. And if you're like, actually, hey, I'm just starting this work, so I guess I can't co-create. Yes, you can. You can start where you are. It doesn't mean that you're going to have like lesser than. It's just the ability to practice. That's it. Use it as such. If you want to run a marathon tomorrow and you haven't been training, okay, like you haven't exercised in a minute, how's that going to go? I mean, I guess you could maybe make it, but you will be suffering for a long time. I guess it's possible. But if you've been sitting on the couch for years and you get up and try to run a marathon, it's not advised. You got to get off the couch first. Then you've got to walk over and get your shoes on. Then you've got to make it out the door. And you might be tired at this point. Great. You did as much as you could do today. The next day, get up and take a few more steps forward. This is just like exercising the physical body. You have to develop muscles that you didn't know you had. And that shit's painful. And when you push it too far, you get injured. This is about doing as much as you can in the day and maybe a little bit more. Because your mind's going to be like, we're done, we're dying, we're tired. And be like, oh, is that just my mind, or am I listening to my body actually? Discomfort's right where you want to be. Because every time you push that discomfort a little more, all of a sudden you get a little stronger every day. Start right where you are. It is enough. So in order to not force anything, in order to trust and have faith that solutions will emerge, the trick is you got to use the desire, right? Because then that's how you know that you want to do a thing. You need to be lit up about it, excited about it, right? Because if we aren't excited and emotionally about it, and we're not going to do it. And if someone's forcing us to do it, the minute that person goes away or that we free ourselves from that person, we stop doing that thing. Okay. So to not force anything, to trust that solutions will emerge, we must release attachment to the outcome. This one's rough. Because it's like, well, if I want a relationship, how am I supposed to release the attachment to the outcome that I'll have one? Because that's the whole point. It's about when you'll have it. That's what you're releasing. How you'll have it. Who it will be. The longevity of it. And what it'll look and feel like. You need to know what you want. And then you need to allow for the more. So, releasing the attachment to outcome is probably the thing I repeat, one of the biggest things I repeat to my clients and to myself every day. So we use our desire, we use our excitement to create the thing that we want. And so how do you then release the attachment to how that will come to pass? Well, the first is we live in present moment. Because if you're attached to the way something is going to materialize, come to be, you're living in the future instead of living right now. So you're like, but goals are a great thing to set. Resolutions are good. Sure, absolutely. You got to do those things because otherwise, how do you know what you want? It's about like, okay, this is the thing I'm going to work towards, but I'm going to come home to the present moment and ask, what do I need to do in this moment to help this come about, come to pass, come to fruition, materialize? What's the popular word? Manifest. So there's all these experiences that people want to have. And so when people start working with me, they come thinking one thing, and it varies. Okay. If I start working with her, then I will finally be happy. Then I will be successful. Then I won't feel pain anymore. Right. And it goes a little differently because there's so much noise that we've got to meet things as they come up. Does this make sense? And so you will experience relief. You will learn you to the point that it will get you where you're going, but the trajectory changes a little bit. Because what happens is when you're in the present moment, you are currently learning about yourself. You are currently undoing old stories, paradigms, perceptions. You're dismantling structures that no longer worked for you. And so the things that you wanted change. And so you get to change your mind. That's one of the biggest reasons to release the attachment to outcome. Because if you're like, I can only have it this way and this one way, you cut out these huge opportunities to live life. Why do you think people have midlife crisis? Because all of a sudden they realize that they were so attached to the outcome, they even get the outcome. And then they're like, but I didn't live. And I love this story because I love to get sassy about this and be like, oh, is it hard to live your dreams now from your millions of dollars in your nice house? The answer is yes, it is. Money just makes you more of who you are. Does it make life easier? Absolutely, it does. However, it also can keep you from facing things. Rock bottom is awesome. I'm just saying. Breakdown, breakthrough. Okay. And look, this can happen at any level of the socioeconomic structure. But it's way more likely to happen when you are left with nothing. That'll wake you up real fast. It's a gift, is the point. And so you can get the outcome you wanted, get there and be like, this isn't what I wanted. It doesn't mean that you lost anything. It just means you start from there. And so in healing journeys, okay, whatever it is, go in with expectations, like write them down. This is what I want. And then the minute you start, I tell my clients to burn them, literally. Write them down and then burn it and allow for something more. And go for the feeling, okay? When I say release attachment to the outcome, it's very like structured. It's like, I will live this way. These are the things I'll have, right? It's very like material. Instead of, this is how I want to feel every day. Okay? I'm going to get annoying about this, but it's like, did I know that the outcome I actually wanted was to feel peace, joy, and contentment every day? No, I did not. I wanted in the beginning, okay, I swear to God, I sat down in my first day of therapy, okay, and I was like, hi, I just want to be the perfect wife and mother. So just tell me how to do it and I'll do it. I literally said that and I meant it. I meant it with every cell in my body. That is what I wanted. And my therapist and I had many good laughs about that later, because I just sat there like, okay, she's going to tell me I'm going to do it. I didn't know that I would go through so many death and rebirth cycles. I didn't know that the things that I wanted were someone else's, that I was living someone else's life. No wonder it didn't fit. And if you had asked the me of 10 years ago, if right now in this moment where I wanted to be, I'd be like, no, I want all of the things that we perceive as success, okay? Tons of money, accolades, right? When like, I didn't know that I would consider myself a successful person because I experience contentment, because I no longer operate off of fear, scarcity, and shame. When I finally understood what it means to release the attachment to the outcome to get me just here, because don't worry, I have more work to do. That's when it got good. That's when the miracles came in. That's when the more came through. Releasing attachment to the outcome is freedom. And this is allowing for the co-creation of your life. Am I just repeating myself? That's good? Okay. Okay, so it's like, okay. Thank you. Okay, good. You're doing great over here. Y'all are the best. Okay. Let's see. Where do I need to take this? How long do I have?
So you have 15 minutes left until you hit an hour. So I would do a quick summary over the main points. But releasing the attachment to outcome is freedom. Expanding. Releasing attachment to outcome is freedom. I would say, like, I want to just go through maybe just like the main points summary.
Okay. All right.
45 is a good place to summarize.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So let us recap these particular laws. Do not force anything. Trust that solutions will emerge, and release the attachment to outcome. These are the answers, okay? But like I have mentioned in other episodes, we actually have all the answers, but we aren't applying them correctly, okay? And it's not like, oh, you're doing it wrong. I mean, we kind of are, but that's okay. We have to do it wrong before we can do it right. Okay. This is where, again, the releasing of perfection is so profound and so potent and so important. We have to allow for the practice of it. So some days you're going to show up to it and you're going to knock it out of the park. And other days you're going to barely scrape by. Okay. That's actually the way of things. As long as you show up to it. Okay. So in yoga, it's, you have done yoga if you show up to the mat. So the goal needs to be, did I show up to it? Not, did I execute it perfectly? So did you show up to your agreement that you are now going to make with yourself of, I'm not going to force anything? Did I show up to the, I will trust that solutions will emerge? Did I show up to releasing the attachment to the outcome? Then you just need to be accurate with yourself. If you didn't do that, be like, okay, I didn't. And that's it. We leave it there. We don't do the thing where it's like, I'm the worst. Of course I did this. This is so me to do this. And you're berating yourself or you're self-deprecating. These things aren't helpful to you. Let them go. If you didn't show up, to say, okay, today I didn't show up. If you need to know why, it's probably something really simple like, well, you've had the old pattern for a really long time, so you fell back into it unconsciously. Okay. Start again. If this happens at the end of the day, be like, great, what did I learn from not doing it today? Not, how am I the worst person in the world and no wonder and I don't deserve good things and no wonder everybody hates me, okay? Like, knock it off. It doesn't help you. That's something you can release real fast. Accuracy is it, okay? What actually happened? Oh, well, I'm a human being, so I fell into an old pattern. All right. Noted. What would I like to do tomorrow? Tomorrow, I would like to show up to these things again. And if you want, how can you set yourself up for success? I'll tell you right now, it's releasing the judgment around it. Tomorrow, I'm going to do it. Tomorrow, I'm going to be perfect at it. Watch me. Tomorrow, I'm going to be so good at this. No. Just show up. Make the commitment to show up to the mat every day. You don't have to do the yoga. Just show up to the mat. When we give ourselves that kind of grace, if we get to the mat, chances are you're going to do at least one thing. It's about consistency. It is about building the muscle slowly so that the strength is there permanently. Now, I use permanently very, very, very loosely. Okay. What I mean by it is it's going to take a long time to undo it. Can you lose muscle? Of course you can. Can you blow this all up? Of course you can. It's all for you. But look, make it really hard to do that. Give yourself a foundation. Okay. This is where slow and steady wins the race. Okay. Be the best turtle that you can be. Did you show up to it? Nope. Do it again. And again and again and again. And this is where time becomes your friend, because the more you do this every day and you're accurate about it and you do not misuse your energy by judging yourself and belittling yourself, give yourself 40 days and you'll be like, oh, well, that shit's a habit now. Okay, it's not really a habit, but it's like in there. Okay. So 40 days to change a thought pattern. Okay. And then it's like, look, you're going to have to Google this one, but it's like 40 days for a thought pattern. And I think it's like 90 days to make it a real habit. And then it's like 2 years to make it unconscious, meaning it's just who you are and what you do. Time. All of us are like, we don't have time. We're running out of time. We have to get it now or we'll never be this. Whenever that thought comes in, let it be this alert to like, oh, I'm working with absolutes here. That means I am activated. That means my survival network has now come online and I need to chill. You get to become the most analytical data collector about yourself while you do this. Ooh, I know I didn't do that today. That's very interesting. Okay, I'm going to put that into my spreadsheet. Now you can actually make a spreadsheet. If that's your jam, go for it. Otherwise, just kind of keep this log of like, this is so interesting that some days I'm able to do it and some days I'm not. Get curious about this shit. Endlessly curious. It is so interesting that I kept this up for 3 days and then I stopped for 2 weeks. All right. Noted. Delve into the why behind your behavior, not the why it's happening. Does that make sense? Okay. Don't focus on why is this happening to me? Focus on why am I responding or reacting this way? That's where finding the reason will serve you. That's a good, excellent use of your energy. So if you would like to work with me or contact me or say hi, I would love all of those things. You can find me on Instagram at Maykel Reese. You can find me on TikTok at Maykel C. Reese. You can find me on YouTube, either my name, Maykel Reese, or the Sovereign Soul Podcast. And you can listen to this podcast wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. Be gentle with yourselves and be accurate with yourselves.